Global Defense Zone viewers, before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, because today we are diving into one of the most intense strategic bomber rivalries in modern military aviation by comparing the United States Air Force's B-1B Lancer with the Russian Aerospace Force's Tu-160 Blackjack, two massive supersonic bombers that were conceived during the Cold War, but still dominate strategic planning today. The B-1B Lancer was designed as a long-range, low-altitude penetrator capable of flying beneath radar coverage and delivering massive conventional firepower deep into enemy territory. Using its variable geometry wings, it can shift between long-range cruising and high-speed dash profiles, reaching speeds of around Mach 125 and carrying up to 34,000 kilograms of weapons, internally and externally, including JASSM precision-guided bombs, JASSM cruise missiles, and a wide range of conventional munitions, while the Tu-160 Blackjack, known in Russia as the White Swan, is the largest and fastest bomber ever built, capable of exceeding Mach 2 thanks to its four powerful NK-32 turbofan engines, and unlike the B-1B, its primary mission remains nuclear deterrence and long-range strategic strike using cruise missiles, such as the Kh-101 and Kh-102, which can travel thousands of kilometers to strike heavily defended targets without the aircraft itself crossing enemy borders. The design philosophy of these aircraft reflects their national doctrines, with the B-1B focusing on terrain-following flight, radar cross-section reduction, and electronic warfare to penetrate defended airspace, while the Tu-160 focuses on speed, altitude, and standoff weapon employment to avoid engagement altogether. The B-1B has a lower radar signature compared to traditional bombers due to its blended body design and radar-absorbing materials, though it is not a true stealth bomber, whereas the Tu-160 is much more visible on radar, but compensates with its tremendous speed and long-range missile capability. Operational history further highlights their different roles, as the B-1B has seen extensive combat use in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, where it served as a flying arsenal of precision strike weapons, delivering devastating conventional attacks with high accuracy and rapid response times, often loitering over battlefields to support ground forces, while the Tu-160 has been used more selectively, primarily as a strategic signaling tool and a launch platform for cruise missile strikes from Russian airspace during operations in Syria and in periods of heightened geopolitical tension with NATO. The B-1B was removed from nuclear service under arms control agreements and converted into a purely conventional bomber, whereas the Tu-160 remains fully nuclear capable and forms a key component of Russia's nuclear triad alongside ballistic missile submarines and land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. In terms of avionics and battlefield integration, the Kh-101B benefits from advanced American satellite networks, real-time data links, and integration with drones and fighter aircraft, allowing it to dynamically retarget and coordinate strikes with other assets, while the Tu-160 functions more as a strategic launch platform with pre-planned mission profiles, though its upgraded Tu-160 millions version now includes modern navigation systems, digital cockpits, and improved electronic warfare equipment. Both aircraft feature variable sweep wings but differ significantly in scale, with the Tu-160 being larger, heavier, and more powerful overall, carrying fewer but much longer range weapons, while the B-1B carries a greater quantity of conventional munitions, making it better suited for sustained conventional campaigns. Engine performance is another major contrast, as the Tu-160's NK-32 engines are among the most powerful jet engines ever installed on an aircraft, providing unmatched thrust and allowing sustained supersonic cruise, while the B-1B engines are optimized for reduced infrared signature and endurance at low altitude. Both bombers are not intended for air-to-air combat and rely on escort fighters, electronic countermeasures, and standoff weapons for survival. Strategically, the B-1B represents America's ability to project conventional military power anywhere in the world within hours, while the Tu-160 symbolizes Russia's ability to deliver nuclear or strategic strikes from within its own protected airspace. Modernization efforts further illustrate these differences, as the United States is gradually retiring the B-1B in favor of the stealthy B-21 Raider, while Russia is restarting Tu-160 production with the Tu-160M2 variant to ensure the Blackjack remains operational for decades. In a direct comparison, the B-1B is superior in payload flexibility, real-time targeting, and integration into modern battlefield networks, while the Tu-160 dominates in raw speed, missile range and strategic deterrence value. One is a battlefield workhorse capable of saturating targets with conventional weapons, while the other is a strategic spearhead capable of launching devastating long-range missile attacks. This contrast reflects the broader military doctrines of the United States and Russia, with America emphasizing global conventional strike and rapid response, and Russia emphasizing nuclear deterrence and standoff precision strike. Both aircraft are terrifying in their own ways and remain among the most powerful bombers ever built, making the B-1B Lancer and Tu-160 Blackjack enduring rivals in the world of strategic aviation and symbols of their nation's military power projection. Continuing this comparison, the strategic value of the B-1B Lancer becomes even more evident when analyzing its role in modern expeditionary warfare, because unlike the Tu-160, which is primarily optimized for long-range standoff missile launches, the B-1B has evolved into a platform capable of carrying the widest variety of conventional weapons in the American arsenal, including bunker-busting munitions, cluster weapons, and advanced cruise missiles, which allows it to strike hardened military bases, command centers, and moving targets with high accuracy. This adaptability has made the B-1B preferred aircraft for prolonged conflicts where sustained pressure on enemy forces is required, whereas the Tu-160 operates more as a strategic instrument of national power, flying intercontinental patrols and conducting long-distance missile launches to demonstrate Russia's reach and deterrent posture. The psychological effect of the Tu-160 should not be underestimated because its sheer size, speed, and nuclear-capable payload serve as a reminder of Russia's ability to strike globally, reinforcing its role as a political as well as military tool. From an aerodynamic perspective, both aircraft employ variable geometry wings, but the Tu-160's massive wingspan and high-sweep configuration allow it to cruise efficiently at supersonic speeds for extended periods, something no other bomber can achieve. While the B-1B's wing design prioritizes low-altitude stability and fuel efficiency during terrain-following flight, enabling it to slip through radar coverage by hugging the Earth's surface. The internal structure of the B-1B was reinforced to handle repeated low-level penetration missions, whereas the Tu-160's airframe was designed to withstand sustained high-speed flight at high altitude, highlighting the different operational environments envisioned by their designers. When discussing survivability, the B-1B depends heavily on electronic warfare, jamming pods, decoys, and escort fighters to protect it from enemy interceptors and surface-to-air missiles, while the Tu-160 relies on distance and speed, launching its weapons from well outside defended airspace, which reduces its exposure to modern air defense systems such as Patriot S-400 and future missile shields. The evolution of modern warfare has further widened this gap, because advanced integrated air defense systems make penetration bombing increasingly risky, thus favoring the Tu-160 standoff missile strategy. Yet, in regional conflicts where air superiority has already been achieved, the B-1B's ability to deliver massive payloads directly over the battlefield remains unmatched. Logistics and basing also reveal important differences, as the B-1B can operate from forward bases and allied airfields around the world, supported by an extensive U.S. logistics network and aerial refueling tankers, while the Tu-160 primarily operates from Russian territory and relies on long-range refueling aircraft to extend its reach. This means the B-1B can be deployed rapidly to crisis zones. While the Tu-160 is more suited for pre-planned strategic missions, crew experience also differs significantly, with B-1B crews often accumulating combat hours in real-world conflicts, refining tactics and coordination with ground forces, while Tu-160 crews focus on long-duration patrols, navigation, and missile launch procedures, emphasizing strategic readiness rather than tactical flexibility. Modernization efforts further demonstrate this divergence, as the B-1B has received upgrades to its radar, communications, and weapons integration systems to maintain relevance in conventional warfare, while the Tu-160 and Tu-160M, two programs focus on engine upgrades, digital avionics, and compatibility with next-generation cruise missiles, ensuring its continued role as a strategic launch platform. Fuel efficiency also plays a role in their operational profiles, with the B-1B designed for extended loiter time over target areas, allowing it to remain on station and provide repeated strikes, whereas the Tu-160 prioritizes speed and range over loitering, emphasizing rapid delivery and withdrawal. Both aircraft require extensive maintenance and support due to their size and complexity. But their maintenance philosophies differ, with the B-1 billion optimized for frequent sorties and operational tempo, while the Tu-160 is maintained as a high-value strategic asset with fewer but highly significant missions. In geopolitical terms, the B-1 billion often appears in joint exercises and shows of force near conflict zones, reinforcing alliances and demonstrating U.S. commitment to collective defense, while the Tu-160 is deployed in long-range flights over the Arctic, Atlantic, and Pacific, reinforcing Russia's claim to strategic parity with NATO. This symbolic role is just as important as their actual combat capability, because strategic bombers serve as visible indicators of national power projection. In a hypothetical conflict scenario, the B-1 billion would likely be used to overwhelm enemy defenses with waves of precision strikes, targeting infrastructure, logistics, and troop concentrations, while the Tu-160 would focus on launching long-range cruise missiles against high-value strategic targets, such as command headquarters, air bases, and critical industrial facilities. This illustrates how the two aircraft complement different military philosophies, with the B-1 billion acting as a battlefield enforcer and the Tu-160 acting as a strategic spear. Even their future paths reflect this divergence, as the United States moves towards stealth-based solutions like the B-21 Raider to replace penetrating bombers, while Russia continues to invest in high-speed, long-range missile carriers like the Tu-160 M2, preserving the concept of standoff deterrence. Ultimately, the comparison between the B-1 billion Lancer and the Tu-160 Blackjack is not merely about speed, payload, range, but about doctrine, where the B-1 billion represents flexibility, precision, and sustained conventional power, and the Tu-160 represents speed, reach, and strategic intimidation. Both aircraft embody the priorities of their respective nations and remain icons of Cold War engineering adapted for modern warfare, and this enduring rivalry ensures that as long as strategic bombers remain part of global military planning, the B-1 billion and Tu-160 will continue to be compared as symbols of American and Russian air power, showing how two different approaches to the same mission can produce two of the most formidable aircraft ever to fly. And if you found this analysis valuable, make sure to subscribe to Global Defense Zone, like the video, and share with others who are passionate about military aviation and global defense technology.